Echoes from Pyongyang.
April 23rd, 2024, 10:10 a.m. A man who had been Kim Yo-jong's personal helicopter pilot flew that very chopper across the West Sea, straight into South Korea, with Kim Yo-jong herself strapped in the back. Behind the controls sat a pilot with 20 years of experience, knuckles white on the stick. Behind him, Kim Yo-jong was screaming. He dropped to 60 feet above the waves. North Korean fighters scrambled after him. A warning missile slammed into the ocean ahead. He didn't stop. So why did one of Kim Yo-jong's most trusted insiders risk everything to defect?
Before we start, please subscribe and like. Every day brings new heartwarming stories and the beginning of a joyful day. Let's begin today's story.
April 23, 2024, 10:10 a.m. I yanked the stick hard to the left. Not east, west, not toward Wonsan, toward the West Sea. Kim Yo-jong's voice cut through from the cabin behind me. Hey, what's going on? Why are we turning? I didn't answer. I pulled off my headset and tossed it aside. I didn't need to hear that voice anymore. Then I locked the cockpit door from the inside. It could only be opened from my side. Pilot, what are you doing? Stop this right now. One of the aides pounded on the door. It didn't matter. I pointed the nose west and pushed the throttle to full. My heart was slamming against my ribs, but my hands were steady. 20 years of flying, this is what it was for. I dropped altitude, from 1,500 feet down to 300. To stay off radar, you have to fly low. I threaded between mountain ridges, close enough to clip the treetops. One wrong move and we'd be a fireball on the side of a hill. What the hell is this bastard doing? Kim Yo-jong's voice behind me was nothing like the smooth tone you hear on television. Sharp, cold, boiling with rage. Comrade Kim Yo-jong, I think he's trying to defect. One of the aides, panicking. What? Contact headquarters immediately. Shoot him down. Too late. I'd already killed the comms. Flipped the radio switch off. No more connection to the control tower. Now all they could do was chase me. I cleared the outskirts of Pyongyang. Below me, the Taedong River unspooled like a dark ribbon. That river, I'd flown over it 1,000 times in 20 years. Watched it every morning on my way to work. Watched the sunset paint it red every evening. This was the last time I'd ever see it. Goodbye, Pyongyang. The words stayed inside my head. The West Sea appeared on the horizon. Blue water stretching out beyond the edge of the world. Freedom was on the other side. My wife and son were on the other side, the family I'd sent ahead a month earlier. I'm coming. Just hold on a little longer. I pushed the throttle harder. 155 miles per hour. The Mi-8's at top speed. The engine screamed in protest. But stopping wasn't an option. Kim Yo-jong was still shouting behind me, but the sound had become meaningless. Open water. I dropped lower. 160 feet. Waves churning right below us. At this altitude, radar can barely touch you. But one twitch of the controls and you're in the ocean. I glanced back. The North Korean coastline was shrinking behind me. The land where I'd lived for 20 years. The country where I'd spent all 48 years of my life. A place I'd never return to. The instrument panel screamed. Radar lock. They'd found me. I flipped the radio back on. No point hiding now. Park Sung-ho. Turn back immediately. Return to Pyongyang at once. The control tower's voice exploded through the speaker. I didn't respond. Just turned the volume down. Park Sung-ho. Do you copy? What do you think you're doing? Turn back now or you will be shot down. The controller's voice was shaking. He was scared too. A pilot defecting right under his watch, he'd be punished for this. Two dots appeared on the horizon, closing fast. Fighter jets. MiG-29s. No question. My heart nearly came through my chest. Park Sung-ho. Final warning. You have 30 seconds to turn back or we open fire. A new voice. Air Force Command, stepping in directly. I pushed the helicopter lower. 100 feet. Waves right in my face. The fighters dropped down after me. But at this altitude, they had to be careful too. One wrong move and they'd hit the water. I used that. I skimmed the wave tops, zigzagging left and right. Shoot him down. Shoot him now. Kill this bastard. Kim Yo-jong, screaming from the back like a woman possessed. But the fighter pilots had a problem of their own. Shooting down a helicopter with Kim Yo-jong on board, that wasn't exactly a simple order to follow. Park Sung-ho, Comrade Kim Yo-jong is aboard. Think about her and come back. The tower, desperate now. I almost laughed. Think about Kim Yo-jong? She's the reason I'm doing this. Then a different voice crackled through the radio. Park, it's me, Choi Jin-hyuk, my senior pilot. We'd flown together for 20 years. Jin-hyuk hung. The words slipped out before I could stop them. Yeah, it's me. Park, please come back. It's not too late. Think about your family. Hung, my family is already in China. And you know what happened to Ri Chul-song. You know. A long sigh came through the static. Alright then live, Park. Please just live. In that same instant, a blinding flash on my right. Warning shot. A missile from the fighter. A column of white water erupted 300 feet ahead. Next one won't miss. Park Sung-ho. The radio roared. I dropped even lower. 60 feet. The rotor wash was kicking up spray from the waves. One slip and we'd cartwheel into the sea. Screaming from the back. The aides, wailing in terror. Kim Yo-jong's face had gone white. She was shouting something, but the words didn't reach me anymore. All I could hear was the engine and my own heartbeat. And one thought, filling every corner of my mind. I have to live. I have to cross this water. No matter what. I checked the fuel gauge. Half a tank. Enough to reach Incheon, but the chase was burning through it fast. I had to balance speed against conservation. The North Korean coast faded behind me. I was past the point of no return. Freedom ahead, death behind. There was only one direction left. A fighter pulled up alongside me. Wing to wing. The pilot gestured through the canopy, turn back. I shook my head. He looked at me. Through his visor, our eyes met. Something passed between us. Pity? Envy? Sorrow? I couldn't tell. He slowly climbed away, then banked north and disappeared. He didn't follow. Something appeared ahead. A faint smudge on the horizon. Land. South Korea. Tears came before I could stop them. We made it. We're alive. I shouted it. Didn't care who heard. The northern limit line passed beneath me. Behind me, the North Korean fighters pulled up and turned away. They couldn't cross. South Korean jets would scramble the moment they did. New aircraft appeared from the south. F-15Ks, Republic of Korea Air Force. They took positions on either side, forming an escort. A voice came through the radio. In Korean, but somehow it sounded completely different. North Korean helicopter, this is the Republic of Korea Air Force. Follow us, please. Thank you, thank you. I could barely get the words out. My hands were shaking so badly I could hardly hold the controls. In 20 years of flying, I had never once cried in the cockpit. Until now. Incheon's coastline materialized ahead. That land was freedom. That land was where my family waited. I'm coming. We're going to be free. Incheon International Airport. The runway spread out below me. It was 11:40 a.m. Massive runways. Planes taxiing in every direction. People moving freely. Cars flowing along highways. Same sky, completely different world. North Korean helicopter, proceed to runway 1. Take your time. Come in steady. The South Korean tower's voice was warm. Thank you, thank you. That was all I could say. I brought the helicopter down slowly. My hands trembled. 20 years of flying and they'd never shaken like this. The wheels touched the ground. Thud. The moment I heard that sound, I released the controls. I buried my face in my hands and wept. First time in 20 years I'd ever cried after a mission. The runway was surrounded by soldiers and police. The helicopter was encircled. Black uniforms, weapons, armored vehicles. Different from North Korea, but being surrounded felt the same. I opened the cockpit door. Raised my hands. I am a defector. I want to become a citizen of the Republic of Korea. My voice cracked. A soldier approached slowly. He had a rifle, but his expression was gentle. You're safe now. Welcome to South Korea. My legs gave out the moment I heard those words. I stumbled climbing down from the helicopter. Soldiers caught me. In the north, that would have been unthinkable. Behind me, Kim Yo-jong and her aides stepped out. Her face was chalk white. No smile. That cold, calculating look gone. She just stood there, blank. Hollow. I looked at her one last time. Kim Yo-jong. It's over. Your lies, your violence, it all ends here. I kept the words inside. There was nothing left to say. A black van pulled up. National Intelligence Service. 2 agents stepped out. Mr. Park Sung-ho, you'll need to come with us. There will be a debriefing. Understood. I climbed in. Through the window, I watched the runway, the planes, the terminal building. Everything was new, but I wasn't happy. Why? I'd survived. I'd found freedom. So why did my chest feel so heavy? The van pulled out. Through the airport, onto the expressway. Cars everywhere, moving fast. Clean roads, new vehicles, orderly traffic. Nothing like the north, but I kept looking back. North. Choi Jin-hyuk hung, is he okay? Will they punish him because of me? The mechanic, Kim? The younger pilots I used to eat lunch with? Everyone who ever maintained my helicopter, what happens to them now? My mind was a storm. Relief and guilt, tangled together. I couldn't separate one from the other. The NIS building. Large, modern. Agents led me down a corridor and into a room. Small. 1 table, 2 chairs, a recorder. Similar to a Boeing interrogation room, but the atmosphere was different. Bright, clean, warm. 2 investigators entered, one in his 50s, one in his 30s. Mr. Park Sung-ho, I'm investigator Kim Chul-soo from the NIS North Korean Defector Division. This is investigator Lee Young-hee. Yes, that must have been incredibly difficult. Would you like some water? He slid a bottle across the table. I drank, cold water sliding down my throat. Proof that I was alive. We'll be asking you some questions. Take your time, answer at your own pace. You don't need to lie here. This isn't North Korea. Tears hit me the instant he said that. You don't need to lie. This isn't North Korea. In the North, truth gets you killed. You survive by lying. But here was different. Your name is Park Sung-ho, correct? Yes, it's an alias. My real name is, may I tell you? Of course. But when anything goes public, we'll use the alias. For your family's safety. Thank you. How old are you? 48. Occupation? Helicopter pilot, Miram Airfield, Pyongyang. 20 years. The investigator nodded. And you were Kim Yo-jong's dedicated pilot? Yes, since 2019. Then you must know a great deal about her. Yes. My chest tightened. Kim Yo-jong. Just saying the name made it hard to breathe. 5 years serving that woman. 5 years seeing what she really was. Take your time. No rush. His voice was kind. I took a deep breath. And began. Kim Yo-jong is nothing like what you see on television. How so? In front of cameras, she smiles. Speaks softly. Talks about peace. About our shared heritage as one Korean people. But the moment the cameras switch off, the words caught in my throat. When the cameras switch off, she hits her aides, curses at them, talks about turning South Korea into a sea of fire. While her own people starve, she has luxury goods smuggled in from China. Handbags worth tens of thousands of dollars each. The investigators exchanged a glance. Do you have evidence? I do. I pulled a small USB drive from my pocket. I'd grabbed it getting out of the helicopter. What is this? Audio recordings. Kim Yo-jong's own voice. Ordering luxury smuggling operations. Beating an aide, you can hear it. Threatening South Korea. The investigator took the USB carefully. This is significant, Mr. Park. I know. But it's the truth. The truth your people need to hear. The debriefing continued through the afternoon and into the evening. My background, family, career, reasons for defecting, how I prepared. I answered everything. The hardest question was this. What about your family? My wife and son crossed into China a month ago. Through a broker. I don't know exactly where they are. Don't worry. We'll find them. Really? Absolutely. Family reunification is our top priority. I broke down again. In the North, when a family separates, it's forever. But here was different. Past 10 p.m. The session ended. Get some rest tonight. We'll continue tomorrow. Rest here? Yes. We'll take you to a room with a bed. The room was small but clean. A bed, a desk, a bathroom. Better than most high-end hotels in North Korea. I lay on the bed. Stared at the ceiling. White ceiling. Clean walls. Warm blankets. I'm on free soil. It didn't feel real. Still felt like a dream. Like I'd wake up tomorrow morning back in my Pyongyang apartment. But something heavy still sat on my chest. Choi Jin-hyuk. His voice on the radio just live. Where was he now? Punished for letting me go? The mechanics I'd worked with. Kim, Park, Lee, the guys who maintained my helicopter. They were being interrogated right now. I was sure of it. And my relatives still in the North. Cousins, aunts, uncles. The regime's guilt by association system, Youngwaja, would it reach them? Did my freedom cost too much? Guilt crashed over me in waves. I'd gained freedom, but joy wasn't the word for what I felt. It felt like freedom built on someone else's suffering. I opened the window. Night air flowed in. Seoul's glow lit up the southern sky. I made it, but my heart isn't at peace. The words stayed silent. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, Choi Jin-hyuk's face. Ri Chul-song's funeral. Kim Yo-jong's ice-cold stare. My body was free. My mind was still chained to the North. Second morning. Breakfast in the NIS cafeteria. White rice, soybean paste stew, rolled egg, kimchi. Elite families in the North ate like this too, but here, no one was watching. Enjoy your meal. The cafeteria lady smiled. A simple, genuine smile. No fear behind it. No calculation. Thank you. My throat closed. I'd never seen a smile like that in North Korea. Every smile there carried fear or an agenda. 9 a.m. Back in the interview room. Investigator Kim was waiting. Laptop and documents spread across the table. Sleep well? No. Couldn't sleep. That's completely normal. I wouldn't have slept either. He opened the laptop. Today we'll go into more detail. Ready? Yes. First we reviewed the USB you gave us yesterday. He turned the screen toward me. Audio files, organized by date. These are all Kim Yo-jong recordings? Yes. 3 years worth. How did you manage to record them? I hid a small recorder in the cockpit. Behind the instrument panel, I recorded every escort flight. What if you'd been caught? I was prepared to die. But someone had to document it. Someone had to keep a record of the truth. He nodded, then played a file. Kim Yo-jong's voice filled the room. See that land down there? That's South Korea. Someday we'll turn all of it into a sea of fire. Yes, comrade, that day will come soon. An aide's voice, agreeable. Eager. The investigator paused the file. When was this recorded? Summer 2022. Flying back from Wonsan to Pyongyang. We were over the East Sea. What was the state of inter-Korean relations at the time? On the surface, both sides were talking about dialogue. But that recording, that's what Kim Yo-jong actually thought. Another file played. A woman screaming. Ah, I'm sorry, comrade. I'm sorry. Do you even know what you did wrong? Yes, I understand. Next time, it'll be your neck. I closed my eyes. The scene came flooding back. Once in Kalma airfield, the aide who tilted the bag. This one? Spring 2019. My very first escort flight. An aide barely tilted a bag, didn't even drop it, and Kim Yo-jong slapped her across the face. For tilting a bag? Not even dropping it, just a slight tilt. The investigator let out a long breath. Shall we continue? Please. Next file. Kim Yo-jong's voice, slurred. Drunk. Hey you idiots. The supreme leader, what's so special? Just another human being. Comrade, please keep your voice down. The pilot can hear. Let him hear. He can't say a word anyway. My fists clenched. That night came rushing back. Late night flight returning from the Myeongsa Sea Villa. When was this? Summer 2021. Middle of the night. Coming back from the Myeongsa Sea Villa. She'd been drinking heavily. The supreme leader, she means Kim Jong-un? Yes. Her own brother. The investigator stopped the recording and looked at me steadily. Mr. Park, these recordings, they're extraordinary. Direct evidence of who Kim Yo-jong really is. The public needs to know. They need to know what kind of person she is. Absolutely. But I have one more area to cover. You mentioned luxury smuggling? Yes. Can you give us specifics? I drew a long breath. Then I began. 2 or 3 times a month, we flew to the Chinese border region. Near Dandong or Sinwiju, 2 trucks would be waiting. Luxury goods stacked to the ceiling. What kind? Hermes, Chanel, Louis Vuitton. Bags, shoes, clothing. Tens of thousands of dollars per box. Enough to fill the helicopter's cargo hold. The investigator scribbled notes. How many trips? 40 that I personally flew. Other pilots did the same. The real number is much higher. Total value? Hundreds of millions of dollars, easily. He set his pen down. Hundreds of millions? Yes. North Korean citizens can't afford a single meal a day. They're starving. And Kim Yo-jong is hoarding luxury goods with state money. The memory was vivid. Boxes spilling from trucks. Boeing agents loading them into the helicopter. My own expressionless face, watching. Mr. Park, are you all right? Yes, I'm fine. But I wasn't. Every word I spoke made my own guilt feel heavier. I'd been part of it. Following orders, sure, but still complicit. Is there additional evidence? Photographs. I pulled out a small memory card. What's on it? Pictures I took secretly. The luxury boxes. The trucks. The cargo hold full of designer bags. The investigator inserted the card into the laptop. Images filled the screen. Mountains of luxury boxes. The helicopter's cargo bay packed with designer bags. Trucks with Chinese license plates. This is airtight. Recording was all I could do. Documenting that was the only power I had. He looked at me differently now. Mr. Park, you are an extraordinarily brave man. No, I was a coward. I went along with it for 5 years. But you documented everything, and ultimately, you got out. Still too late. Ri Chul-song is already dead. My voice broke. Thinking about Ri Chul-song, it never stopped hurting. Who was Ri Chul-song? A senior pilot. My mentor. He was 15 minutes late for a Kim Yo-jong flight and the Boeing took him. 3 days later, they announced he died in a helicopter crash. Was it actually a crash? No, it was staged. The word going around was that someone tampered with his engine beforehand. The investigator made notes. His family? A wife, a son, and a daughter. The daughter had just started university. Now they're branded as a traitor's family. The words dissolved. Tears again. Ri Chul-song's daughter, sobbing in front of her father's casket. The image wouldn't leave. Mr. Park. That's when I decided. I knew my turn was coming. And I knew my family would end up just like his. The investigator was quiet for a long time. Then, softly, that's what drove you to defect? Yes. If I was going to die either way, I wanted to die reaching for freedom. The debriefing ran all afternoon. Kim Yo-jong's schedules, flight records, smuggling details, the reality of North Korea's elite. I answered everything. The hardest question: why didn't the other pilots leave? Fear. And family. You must have been afraid too. Of course. I'm still afraid. But something scared me more. What? Growing old and dying there. Watching my son live the same life trembling under someone like Kim Yo-jong. That scared me more than anything. The investigator nodded. Around 5 p.m., the session ended. Mr. Park, thank you for this invaluable testimony. Your courage is going to bring the truth to a great many people. No, it was something I had to do. The truth people deserve to know. One more thing. Good news. What? We found your family. My heart stopped. Are you serious? They're in Shenyang, China. Under a broker's protection. They'll be in South Korea within the week. The tears came in a flood. There was no holding them back. Thank you so much. It's what we do. This is South Korea. That evening, back in my room, I opened the window and looked toward Seoul. City lights flickering in the distance. 1 week, just one more week. My chest was full to bursting. 3 days of debriefing had been grueling. Dredging up the past was agony. But it had to be done. The truth had to be recorded. And for Ri Chul-song, for everyone still trapped in the north, I had to testify to the very end. It was spring 2003. I was 25, just married. I still remember the day I received my first assignment to Miram Airfield in Pyongyang. Comrade, you'll be working here from today. Good to have you. A senior pilot extended his hand. I shook it with trembling fingers. I'll work hard, sir. The hangar was enormous. Rows of Mi-8 helicopters stretched into the distance. Back then, I was proud. I'd become one of North Korea's elite pilots. I did it. I told my wife that first payday. I'm officially a pilot. She cried. You worked so hard. Now we'll have a good life. We really believed that. A pilot's salary meant a good life in Pyongyang. Proper rations, reliable electricity, good schools for our future children. Fall 2005. We moved to an apartment on the Taedong River. Cheongjandong, Chung District. 15th floor. Even had an elevator, though it broke down constantly. Look at this view. My wife threw open the window. The river stretched below us, turning red with every sunset. I want our son to grow up here. I placed my hand on her belly. She was 6 months along. That winter, our son was born. A tiny, red-faced boy. The feeling of holding him for the first time, I'll carry that forever. Daddy's going to give you the best life. The best this country has to offer. I whispered it to him. And at the time, I meant every word. I believed North Korea was the best. His first birthday party was small. Just family. My father-in-law sent dried pollock from Wonsan, caught it himself. Son-in-law, take good care of my daughter. He handed me a drink. You have my word, sir. We visited the in-laws every holiday. 4 hours by train to Wonsan. The sea there was beautiful. I'd take my son to Songdo-won Beach. Daddy, the ocean's scary. My 3-year-old, clinging to my leg. It's okay. I've got you. A wave rushed in. He squealed with laughter. That sound still rings in my ears. My mother-in-law was an incredible cook. Raw pollock, fermented flounder, salted pollock roe. Everything from the sea was delicious. Eat up, son-in-law. You can't get this in Pyongyang. Thank you, mother. Those meals around the table, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, my brother-in-law, my wife, our boy, and me. 6 people crammed together, laughing and talking. Those were happy times. Son-in-law, we live like this thanks to the great leader Kim Jong-il. My father-in-law said it with conviction. I nodded. Back then, I believed it too. On the train home, my wife asked me, what should our son be when he grows up? A doctor, maybe. Or a teacher. What about a pilot? No, not a pilot, it's too hard. I'm not sure why I said that. Maybe I already sensed something. That this wasn't a life to wish on your child. Through the 2010s, things changed. Rations shrank. Power outages became constant. The elevator in our building stopped working permanently. I need to go to the Jongmadang for rice, my wife told me. The Jongmadang, an unofficial market. Before, government rations had been enough. Now they weren't. How much do we need? About 50,000 won for a month's supply. 50,000 won, half my salary. But there was no choice. Our son had to eat. Our boy grew fast. Elementary school, middle school, high school. He was a strong student. Got accepted to Kim Il-sung University. Dad, I got in. He came running with the acceptance letter. I hugged him tight. I'm so proud of you. That night the whole family gathered around a grill. Pork from the Jongmadang, expensive. Worth every one. All those years of raising him, it was worth it, my wife said through tears. I felt the same. 20 years, and look at the young man he'd become. But underneath the pride, something gnawed at me. I couldn't name it. Good news, so why wasn't I purely happy? Spring 2019. That unnamed anxiety became real. Comrade Park Sung-ho, special orders. Report to the commander's office immediately. The wing commander came personally. My pulse surged. Good news or bad, impossible to tell. Inside the office, 2 Boibu men stood waiting. Secret police. My blood ran cold. Comrade Park Sung-ho, you have been personally selected by the supreme leader. The commander's face was stone. You are hereby assigned as the dedicated pilot of First Vice Director Kim Yo-jong. My mind went white. Kim Yo-jong, Kim Jong-un's own sister. That Kim Yo-jong. This assignment is classified at the highest level. Speak of it, and 3 generations of your family will be eliminated. Understood? The Boibu officer's voice could have frozen water. Yes, understood. At home, I told my wife. I've been given a special assignment. What kind? I can't say, but it's a great honor for our family. She didn't press further. In the north, not asking questions keeps you alive. I couldn't sleep that night. Stared at the ceiling. Kim Yo-jong's personal pilot. It was supposed to be an honor. So why did my chest feel like it was being crushed? Like sinking into deep water. I didn't know then. Didn't know this assignment would change everything for my family. And that 5 years later, I'd be flying that very helicopter toward freedom. 20 years as a pilot. Looking back now, the irony is suffocating. All those years I thought I was at the top, I was just a frog at the bottom of a well. The Taedong River sunsets, my son's first birthday, holidays at the in-laws, all good memories. But they weren't the whole picture. The truth hidden behind them, I couldn't see it yet. Fall, 2023. It happened. I arrived at Miram Airfield that morning like any other day. But something was wrong. Pilots and mechanics were clustered together, whispering. What's going on? Ri Chul-song is in deep trouble. A senior pilot's voice was barely above a murmur. Ri Chul-song, 5 years older than me. A veteran escort pilot like myself. Had a wife, 2 kids. Just that year, he'd been beaming about his daughter starting university. What happened? Yesterday he was 15 minutes late for a Kim Yo-jong flight. The senior pilot's hands were shaking. 15 minutes? That's it? That's not the point. Kim Yo-jong was furious. Ordered immediate punishment. That afternoon, Boibu agents dragged Ri Chul-song away. We couldn't do anything, just watched from a distance as they took him. His face was gray, his legs buckled beneath him. 20 years working side by side and I couldn't even wave goodbye. 3 days later, emergency alert at the airfield. Comrade Ri Chul-song's helicopter has crashed. Engine failure during a training flight. That was the official story. But every pilot on that base knew. Ri Chul-song was one of the best. Even with total engine failure, he could have brought a helicopter down safely. It was staged, a mechanic whispered to me. Word as the Boibu tampered with the engine beforehand. I couldn't speak. My mouth had gone completely dry. The funeral was held outside Pyongyang. I went to pay my respects. Ri Chul-song's wife couldn't even grieve properly. Boibu agents stood right beside her, watching. He died heroically in the line of duty. That was the only thing anyone was allowed to say. His 15-year-old son and 20-year-old daughter stood before the casket, weeping. The daughter had just started university. Now she'd have to live without her father. No, it was worse than that. Once you're labeled a traitor's family, those children have no future. I stood in front of the casket. His face looked peaceful, but I knew better. That wasn't peace. It was resignation. I'm sorry, Hung. I couldn't do anything for you. The apology stayed inside. That evening, I came home and stared at my wife and son for a long time. My wife was doing dishes. My son was reading. An ordinary evening, but through my eyes, it looked different. Tomorrow, they could be the ones weeping like that. What's wrong? You don't look well. My wife's face creased with worry. Nothing. I'm fine. A forced smile. But nothing was fine. Nothing at all. Ri Chul-song was killed over 15 minutes. An engine failure that was murder. One word from Kim Yo-jong, and a 20-year veteran vanished from the earth. His 70-year-old mother lost her son. His wife lost her husband. His children lost their father. The following Monday, I was back escorting Kim Yo-jong, Pyongyang to Hamhung. She acted as if nothing had happened. Stepped into the helicopter, sipped her coffee, scrolled through her phone, laughed at something. As if the world hadn't shifted. Throughout the flight, one question consumed me. When is it my turn? A week? A month? Tomorrow? My palms were slick on the controls. That evening, my son asked, "Dad, is being a pilot hard?" I looked at his face. 20 years old, a whole lifetime ahead of him. No, it's fine. Another lie. But in my mind, a decision was hardening. Not him. I will not let my son live under someone like Kim Yo-jong. I will not let him spend his life trembling. That night, for the first time, I seriously thought about defecting. Concretely, specifically, with full knowledge that it might cost me my life. If staying meant ending up like Ri Chul-song, eventually why not roll the dice? A few days later, I went to the Jongmadang. Ran into an old friend while buying rice. Sung Ho, long time. Yeah, how've you been? We sat in a back alley restaurant and drank soju. He said he was in trade now, traveling to China regularly. I hear a lot of people are crossing into China these days, I said carefully. Yeah, if you have the money, a broker handles everything. How much? About $25,000 per person. Not cheap. 25,000 per person. 3 of us meant 75,000. More than everything I'd saved in my entire life. But that night, the decision was made. Sell the apartment. Send the family first. I sat my wife down. I need to tell you something. What is it? We have to leave. Her face went rigid. Leave? What are you talking about? Defect. Go to South Korea. Have you lost your mind? What about our son? Our parents? That's what I want to discuss. I kept my voice low. You and our son go first. Through China, with a broker. I'll follow later, flying the helicopter directly into South Korea. Fly the helicopter? That's suicide. No. I looked her straight in the eyes. Remember Ri Chul-song? That could be me tomorrow. Someday it will be me. I'd rather take one gamble. For our son's future. We talked until dawn. We cried more than we talked. Can we really survive this? I don't know, but we have to try. What if you don't make it? Then you and our son still have to live. Free. She gripped my hand. Okay, but you have to promise me you'll come back to us alive. Promise. I promise. I will find you. That's how it began. Ri Chul-song's death was my final warning. You're next. Then your family. 1 month after Ri Chul-song died, I started moving. First intelligence gathering, maximum range, fuel capacity, flight time. I'd been doing this work for 20 years, but calculating for an escape was an entirely different equation. Pyongyang to Incheon across the West Sea. Roughly 125 miles. Well within the Mi-8's range. The real problems were elsewhere. North Korean radar, pursuit helicopters, fighter jets, how to evade all of them. Night flying meant zero visibility. Daylight meant total exposure. Every night after my wife fell asleep, I locked myself in the bathroom with a flashlight and a map. Timing was everything. I'd use Kim Yo-jong's schedule. Take off for a routine flight, then cut communications and bank hard toward the West Sea. Drop to ultra-low altitude before radar could track me, then race across the water. Early 2024. Full preparations began. Money first. The apartment had to go. But technically, it belonged to the state. Selling it officially was impossible. I had to do it under the table. Know anyone who'd take our apartment? I asked a trusted friend. Why? Going somewhere? No, just looking to downsize. A lie. But what choice did I have? A month later, a mid-level cadre bought it. 50 million won, about $50,000. Below market value, but I was in no position to negotiate. Here's the money. Use it well. My hands shook taking the envelope. 20 years in that home, reduced to cash. Next, the broker. My old friend made the introduction. A Korean-Chinese man. 2 family members, China route to South Korea. $50,000. 50,000. My life savings. Every cent from the apartment sale. Can we negotiate? This is the price of life. Consider it cheap. I bit my lip. Bargaining wasn't an option. All right, we'll do it. Mid-March departure. Head toward Sinwiju. I handed over the money. $50,000. The envelope left my hands and my spine went cold. No turning back now. At home. Mid-March. That's when you leave. Okay. Her voice trembled. Next, the helicopter. Fuel was the critical issue. Reaching Incheon meant full auxiliary tanks. Maximum capacity. Comrade, you've been checking the fuel a lot lately. The mechanic noticed. Long-distance flights have picked up. Better safe than sorry. Another lie. But the mechanic didn't question it. Weather mattered too. March through May was the best window for West Sea flying. Less fog, lighter winds. I checked forecasts daily. I even bought an illegal radio to pick up South Korean weather reports. West Sea conditions clear, winds below 10 miles per hour. I scribbled notes while the South Korean meteorologist spoke. Getting caught meant death, but when you're planning to defect, what's one more risk? The hardest part was identifying gaps in radar coverage. North Korean radar runs around the clock, but during shift changes and maintenance, brief windows open up. I spent months studying the patterns. Between 10 and 11 a.m., there was roughly a 15-minute gap. That's the window. That's when I go. And above all, Kim Yo-jong's schedule. If she had a flight from Pyongyang toward the east coast, I could break west immediately after takeoff. I reviewed her itinerary every week. Heart in my throat, waiting for the right day. March 2024. Time to send the family. Pack light. Anything suspicious and it's over. I know. My wife packed one small bag. A few changes of clothes. One photograph. That was everything. Son travel light. Yes, Dad. He packed a single backpack. The night before departure, we had our last meal together. My wife made soybean paste soup, my favorite. Eat well. Thank you. Tears fell into the soup. This meal might be the last time we'd ever sit together. Son. Yes, Dad. Listen to your mother. Take care of her. I will. He was crying too. Dawn. I walked them to the train station. Crowds everywhere. Nobody gave us a second glance. Don't worry. 1 month and we'll be together again. You're really coming? I am. I promise. The train pulled away. My wife and son waving through the window. I waved back. The train shrank. Smaller and smaller. Then gone. Stay alive. Both of you. I'm coming. I walked home alone. The apartment was hollow. My wife's closet, my son's desk, everything in place. But the people were gone. I sank to the floor and wept. A long time. But weeping wouldn't get me across the sea. It was my turn now. Mid-April. The opportunity arrived. Next Tuesday Kim Yo-jong is traveling to Wonsan. My heart nearly burst. This is it. Last chance. That night, I borrowed a Korean Chinese friend's phone and called my wife in China. Tuesday. Pray for me. I will. Come back to us alive. I hung up. Tears again. That might have been the last time I'd ever hear her voice. But I wiped my eyes and stood up. No time for tears. There was too much left to do. Final helicopter inspection. Fuel. Engine. Instruments. Every system, checked by my own hands. Just don't break down on me. One more flight. That's all I'm asking. I ran my palm along the fuselage. The USB drive and memory card went into my pocket. Kim Yo-jong's recordings. The photographs. My evidence. One last look in the mirror. Park Sung-ho. This is the gamble. Live or die. Nothing in between. The face staring back at me looked like a stranger's. But the eyes were certain. I'm going to live. I am going to cross that water. And so I waited. For the day that would divide my life in two. April 23, 2024. Tuesday. I woke at 5 a.m., same as always. But nothing about this day was the same. This might be the last morning of my life. I shaved in front of the mirror. Let me shave again tomorrow as a free man. Breakfast was impossible. Nothing would go down. I drank one glass of water and left. Stepping out of the apartment, I took one final look. 20 years in this home. I'd never see it again. I shut the door and didn't look back. Looking back would have broken me. At the airfield, colleagues greeted me like any other morning. Good luck today, Comrade Park. You too. A smile. But inside, this is the last time. I began the pre-flight check. Fuel gauge, auxiliary tanks topped off. Engine, instruments, rotor blades. Everything in order. One more time. Don't fail me now. 9:50 a.m. Kim Yo-jong arrived. Stepped out of a black sedan, looking exactly like she did on television. Smiling, as always. But I knew what lived behind that smile. Kim Yo-jong. Today is the last day. Pilot, beautiful weather today. She glanced at the sky. Perfect flying conditions, comrade. Calm on the surface. Inside, my pulse was off the charts. 20 years of composure. This is what it was for. 1000 a.m. The order came. Proceed to Kalma Airfield, Wonsan. Understood. I started the engine. The rotor began its spin. That familiar sound, today it sounded different. Like the sound of freedom. The helicopter climbed. 30 feet. 60. 150. Pyongyang spread out below. Miram Tower, liftoff complete. Proceeding eastbound. Copy. Safe flight. 1005 am. Past the outskirts. Altitude 1500 feet. Speed 125 miles per hour. The Taedong River below. How many thousands of times had I flown above it? But today was the last. One deep breath. Now. If not now, then never. I tightened my grip. Palms soaked. 10:10 am. I killed the radio. And banked the helicopter hard left. Not east. West. Toward the sea. Hey, what's happening? Why are we turning? Kim Yo-jong, from behind. No answer. Headset off. Tossed aside. I didn't need to hear her anymore. Pilot, what are you doing? Stop this immediately. The aides screaming. One lunged for the cockpit. I locked the door. Inside only. This bastard's insane. Turn around. Turn around now. Kim Yo-jong, hammering on the door. But I was already pointed west. Full throttle. I dropped. 1500 feet to 300. Below radar. Threading between ridgelines close enough to taste the dirt. Comrade Kim Yo-jong, he's defecting. What? Contact headquarters. Shoot him down. Too late. Comms had been dead for minutes. 10:20 am. The West Sea appeared. Blue water to the horizon. Freedom on the other side. My family on the other side. I'm coming. We're going to be free. 155 miles per hour. Maximum speed. The engine howled, but there was no stopping. Through the rear panel, Kim Yo-jong and her aides were pounding on the glass. It didn't matter anymore. Goodbye, Kim Yo-jong. Your helicopter is flying toward freedom now. Over open water. Down to 160 feet. Waves churning below. Radar can barely see you this low. But there's no margin for error either. Focus. 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 Kim Yo-jong sobbing and shrieking behind me. You're dead. I'll kill your entire family. A bitter smile crossed my face. My family was already in China. There was nothing left for her to take. 10:30 am. The North Korean coast, a thin line, fading. Goodbye, North Korea. Let's never meet again. South. Toward freedom. The warning alarm blared. Radar lock. Radio back on. Park Sung-ho. Return immediately. Final warning. 30 seconds or we fire. Air Force Command. I pushed lower. 100 feet. Waves filling the windshield. Fighters pulled up alongside, but at this altitude, they were as vulnerable as I was. Park, it's me. Choi Jin-hyuk. Hung. Come back. It's not too late. My family's in China. You know what happened to Ri Chul-song. A long exhale through the static. Then live. Please just live. A blinding flash. Starboard side. Warning shot. A missile hitting the ocean 300 feet ahead. White water erupting skyward. Next one hits. Park Sung-ho. 60 feet. Rotor spray mixing with sea spray. One mistake, we're under. 1100 am. Fuel warning light. 40% remaining. Still hadn't crossed the northern limit line. I eased off to 110 miles per hour. Every drop mattered now. A fighter slid up beside me. Gestured turn back. I shook my head. Through the visor, our eyes met. He pulled up. Climbed away. Turned north. Gone. 11:10 am. A smudge on the horizon. Growing clearer. Land. South Korea. The tears came. We made it. We're alive. The northern limit line fell behind. The North Korean fighters banked away, they couldn't follow. New aircraft from the south. F-15Ks. Republic of Korea Air Force. They formed up on both sides. North Korean helicopter, this is the Republic of Korea Air Force. Please follow us. Thank you, thank you. Incheon materialized ahead. That coastline. That was freedom. 11:40 am. Incheon International Airport. North Korean helicopter, runway 1. Take it slow. You're almost there. Thank you, thank you. Hands trembling worse than ever. 20 years never like this. The wheels hit the pavement. Thud. I let go of the controls. Covered my face. And wept like I'd never wept in my life. I was alive. Free. On the ground of a nation I'd been taught to hate, and it had welcomed me home. 3 days after the NIS debriefing ended, I was transferred to Hanwon, the government's resettlement center for North Korean defectors. On the bus ride there, the world outside the window stunned me. Towering buildings, spotless roads, an ocean of cars, but more than anything, it was the faces. People smiling without fear, walking freely, talking to each other like it was the most natural thing in the world. Hanwon was in Ansung, Gyeonggi Province. Quieter than I expected. Immaculate. Welcome, Mr. Park. You'll be here for 3 months. Thank you. My room was a double. My roommate was a man in his 30s from North Hamgyong Province. Nice to meet you. I'm Park Sung-ho. Ah, you're the famous one. Came in by helicopter. That's me. Word had already spread. The routine at Hanawan morning classes, afternoon counseling and exercise. The computer class amazed me most. We had computers in the north, but the internet I'd never touched it. Click here with the mouse. The instructor was patient. My hand shook as I clicked. Information poured across the screen. News, videos, photographs. The world was so much bigger than I'd ever imagined. Can I really look at all of this? Anything you want. Anything you want. Those words alone were revolutionary. In the north, everything required permission. Nights were bad. Nightmares came without fail. Fighters on my tail. Missiles streaking in. The helicopter spinning into the ocean. Every night, I woke drenched in sweat. You okay? My roommate, worried. Yeah, fine. But I wasn't. My body had reached freedom. My mind was still somewhere above that water. The counselor told me, Mr. Park, what you're experiencing is completely normal. Post-traumatic stress disorder. It takes time, but it will improve. How long? It's different for everyone. But slowly, gradually you'll get better. A week later, the day I'd been waiting for arrived. Mr. Park, your family is here. My heart stopped. Really? Yes. Let's go to the visiting room. The corridor felt a mile long. The door opened. My wife and son walked in. I ran, wrapped my arms around both of them. The three of us stood there and cried. No words. None were needed. Being alive, being together, that was enough. You really made it. My wife, barely able to speak through tears. I'm sorry I worried you. Dad, you really flew a helicopter here? My son. Yeah, I missed you too so much I flew. That's incredible, Dad. Seeing the pride on his face, everything I'd risked was worth it. During my time at Hanawan, I was given a special opportunity. A visit to a South Korean airbase. They offered it because of my background. The moment I stepped onto that base, my jaw dropped. F-15Ks, F-16s lined up in perfect rows. A different universe from North Korea's aging MiGs. These were the jets that escorted me in. Tears again. I spoke with the pilots. Your arrival had us on high alert, Mr. Park. We never expected a North Korean helicopter coming in like that. A young pilot, grinning. You saved my life. I owe you everything. I bowed. What astonished me most was the radar system. North Korea's radar is old, full of blind spots. South Korea's coverage was seamless 360 degrees, no gaps. How did we ever think we could win against this? Every piece of propaganda I'd absorbed in the North exposed for what it was. Lies. I also saw the helicopter I'd flown in. The military was keeping it in storage. This aircraft will be preserved as a historical artifact. The machine I'd risked my life on becoming a symbol of the yearning for reunification. After 3 months, I left Hanawan. The government provided a small apartment on the outskirts of Seoul. Modest but ours. First night, I opened the window. Seoul at night, lights everywhere. Are we really safe? My wife took my hand. We are. We're really free. But part of me was still heavy. The colleagues left behind. The relatives under suspicion. The 25 million North Koreans still suffering. I felt guilty for being the one who made it out. That guilt became purpose. I started speaking publicly. Television, newspaper interviews, telling the truth about Kim Yo-jong. The public needs to know. Kim Yo-jong talks about peace but behind closed doors. She talks about turning the South into ashes. She claims to serve the people while smuggling designer goods and indulging in power. The response was overwhelming, especially from older Koreans who'd lived through the war. We survived the Korean War. We know how it feels when one people are torn in two. Someone like you has to tell the truth. Those words gave me strength. Today, I live freely in South Korea. My son attends university. I work a modest job. My accent gets laughs sometimes. The food still catches me off guard. But none of that matters. Because here, I'm free. Sometimes I look up at the sky. When a helicopter passes overhead, I think, that was me up there. And I pray for the people still in the north. For the day reunification comes. The nightmares haven't stopped. A few times a month. But less than before. Slowly, like the counselor said. Getting better. Yesterday, I walked along the Han River with my son. Dad, do you regret it? Regret what? Defecting. I looked at the river and answered. Not once. Not for a single moment. Watching you and your mother live in freedom, I know it was the right thing. Me too, Dad. I love it here. He smiled. A smile with no fear behind it. A smile you'd never see in the north. To those still in the north, don't give up. Freedom will come. You may not be able to fly here. But someday, you'll walk here. Stay alive until that day. And to the people of South Korea, know how precious your freedom is. It isn't guaranteed. Electricity, running water, food on the table, every one of those is a blessing. And please pray for reunification. Pray for the day this tragedy ends. One people, one sky, no longer divided. I'm still here, living free, and I dream of the day I can fly over Pyongyang's skyline in a unified Korea. When that day comes, I want to fly a helicopter again. Not running away this time but celebrating freedom. Thank you for listening to my story all the way through. If you've made it to the end, leave a comment to let me know. Thank you.